Might lose some battles, but winning a war. I get knocked down, I get back up, get up and go. I stay ready for more. Go to the toe till I level the score.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing on this fantastic Monday morning? So we got a little bit of things to talk about today. Bitcoin down on the day, 0.9%. We have the S&P pulling back to the intraday VWAP. NASDAQ pulling back to the intraday VWAP. Fartcoin currently trading up 2% on the day, and Hypecoin currently trading down 0.8% on the day. That's what we currently have right now. As you can see here on the screen, we have the meme coin Hype, and essentially what I'm looking to see is if it holds support down here at the bottom of the daily range. It is currently testing the it's not the intraday VWAP. Let me go get that. The intraday VWAP is going to be above price because you're down on the day. Should have had that already situated. So currently testing the low of the day, might make a new one. It's also the bottom of the value area. So it's the value area low. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to bounce from here. So if you're going to short one of these, Fartcoin is at the high of the day, or currently at the high of the day. Now, they're all structured bullish. All of them have bullish momentum on the daily and weekly time frame, but we might get a pullback. We might get a pullback in the risk markets. We will see. Tesla's gapping down. Apple is gapping down. Microsoft is bunched, and Nvidia is gapping down. So we might have a first morning pullback, and then the VIX is gapping up to 1721. So it is currently gapping above the yearly opening range. 1772, is where it is gapped up to. So we might see a little bit of a pullback here. We did get a pullback on Friday on the ES futures, but that candle isn't there on the ES futures. We got the 7-3 candle. The 7-3 candle was Thursday. I do not see Friday's candle, but we do know that futures did pull back. If we look at the S&P 500 CFD product, you can see that it absolutely did pull back all day Friday until the market closed at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's kind of what we have going on right now. Bitcoin is breaking down right now, making fresh daily lows right now. And then Hype also doing the same thing. At the lows, Fart up on highs. So this one has more as far as downside potential. If Bitcoin and Hype and the rest of the cryptos break down, then maybe Fart would be the one to watch if you want to short. If you're looking for longs, then clearly you're looking for this pullback, so that way you can buy it. That way you can jump in at a lower price. I am currently watching Fartcoin as it moves a lot. That's the one I have pulled up, so that's the one I'm looking to potentially trade here this morning. So let's see what we can do with that. We got 12 minutes until the market opens. Let's go over here and look at the entire market. You can see ES pulling back to the intraday VWAP. NASDAQ pulled back to the intraday VWAP and is currently breaking down. These are 15-minute candles. You can see quite a bit of volume coming in here. This is a very light week as far as news, like event risk. The news, high impact event risk is very thin this week. Not a lot of news. Since there's not a lot of news, then it's going to be a lot of trading. And we will not know what the rest of the market is doing until it opens. As far as levels to look for on Bitcoin to be a buyer, if you think it's going to continue to have bullish momentum, you're currently testing daily support. And I believe that is the weekly fib for last week. So it is, I don't know why it is red. Oh, it was red. It just turned green on Sunday. There you go. The 50% retracement of last week's range, 107,854. That's below daily support. You also have July's VWAP. This blue line right in here, that's going to be July's VWAP. So you are kind of at an area to look to be a buyer, right? You just need to see if support holds here at daily support. It's the very beginning of the week. So is the weekly low in? It's possible. We set the weekly low today. But, you know, we won't know, obviously, until the end of the week where the weekly low is. But if you're anticipating this being the weekly low, then this is the level at which you will be looking to be a buyer on today. Daily support. Let's see what it does. Not a lot of volume down here. People are getting stopped out, you can see, because there's a lot more asks down here than bids. So this just stop losses, right? People getting stopped out from buying a little bit too early. Fartcoin kind of retracing that entire move. Fartcoin's been pissing a lot of people off all morning. You can see multiple crosses here on the 21 and 100 EMAs. I don't follow these intraday EMAs because of this. I mean, what are you going to do here? Here's a cross, there's a cross, there's a cross, and literally you've gone nowhere. There's another cross. So 4 crosses in a very tight price range. Not loving it. I hate being a buyer at the high of day. Something that you need to be concerned about, though, on Bitcoin as far as long term, like more of a macro thing, is Bitcoin did break down from this channel that it's in. This was a breakout here, broke out, upside continuation, and the very next day you reversed right back under. Then we got back above it on Sunday. Currently you're trading under it. Now this trend line comes from the line chart. You can see it's coming from the candle closes, not the highs. The trend line on the highs is going to be this trend line here. So if you want to look at the trend line from the highs, you're under it. So quite a lot of trading happening around this upside trend line here. As some people, it looks like a failure. It is a failure. When you cannot get upside continuation, when you break out, that is a failure. However, we got some news yesterday. Saylor was buying or saying that people should hodl, and a couple other people took that as Saylor saying you should buy Bitcoin. So that brought in a little bit of volume yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and that's why you got this spike. And then later on in the day, we got upside continuation. And then, of course, we're going to retrace all of that today. The CME gap fill on Bitcoin is not, I guess you could say it's filled. Right here's your gap on the CMEs. So you gapped up, and then here you currently are. My crosshairs basically touching the low of this current 30-minute candle. It's also touching the high of the closing candle. So that would, in fact, be gap fill. If I'm wanting to buy these, I want to buy one of these on the lows, not FART, right? FART is up on the daily highs. But you could see also here, 1, 2, 3 lower highs so far. But they're all inside of Friday's range. So a breakout to the upside is possible. And whereas on hype, you've been making higher highs on the daily, but still also trading in Friday's range. So we got a mixed bag, mixed market. Not an easy trade today. But I'd be interested in to know what the chat is thinking. What is the chat thinking? Are we looking for shorts today because the market's going to zero? Or are we looking to buy the market because it's going to 1,000,000? Or is everybody here traders and you don't care where it goes? You just want to look to make a little bit of money today. All right. Something that I think is funny on Fartcoin. Here's your 4-hour chart. We just closed and opened a fresh 4-hour candle at 8 a.m. You retraced all the way down to the daily VWAP, the intraday VWAP. That's this white line here. That's essentially where it found support. It would have been hard to buy that. As you can see, once we made the fresh daily high, we rolled over instantly almost and got a little bit of momentum going here. So I don't know why that 4-hour low comes in here and tags this. It clearly does not. Yeah, it does not. But on the 4-hour chart, it does. What's up with that? But you're back to being bullish. About to set a fresh high day. So let's go over. I'm going to pull up hype instead of fart, because fart, either it's going to roll over, it's going to break out, and we don't want to trade the rollover because, well, I guess we could, since the VIX is gapping up, couldn't we? All right, we'll keep fart on watch today for sure. Other memes that we are currently watching: BOEM USDT, LPT USDT, Pendle, Jasmy, WUSDT, Pepe, and then Bonk, of course, because Bonk had a big breakout this weekend. Yesterday, this thing was up, what, 20%? Almost 20%. Well, if you go to the high, it would be 20%. So Bonk had a big move. This is over some ETF nonsense. This thing is 1/100th of a cent. I don't think they're going to give you an ETF on it, but I mean, anything can happen, I guess. But that's why Bonk is currently moving. I think we should probably seriously think about getting in hype pretty soon here because it's getting some momentum to the upside. I don't want to buy the momentum. I would like to buy a pullback. This gives me a legitimate place to look for risk. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. The way we do our risk management is we buy in small, very small with the start. We're not risking a full 1% just in case it wants to go lower. This way we don't lose a full 1%. But if we catch momentum, if we get on the right side, we can always add to the position as momentum is trading in our direction. It's called dynamic risk management. It's a lot easier to make money this way. You're not risking so much on the first initial position size. Leverage sliders on 20x. So I'm going to go in with a 20% position size. My normal position size is about 200 USD on the first position size. I will get up. My normal, like if I was to go in with a full size position, it would be $1,000, right? We're going to go in with 200 on the first when we need a pullback to the July open. We're going to buy the July open on the hype coin. For the stock options traders, we are currently watching FXI to see if it's going to be a trap, and it doesn't look like it is because you got downside continuing. Oh wait, down here we are. So we're going to watch FXI to see if Friday or Thursday was a trap to the downside. If we get a move back above the 21 exponential and a close above it, then we'll be looking for bullish entries there. And I checked out O'Reilly. The options are very spready. When the market opens, I will see if the options tighten up. And then we took a trade on Pepsi, kind of still holding that to see what it does. That's pretty much all we got on the stock front. All right, going back over here to hype, as that's going to be one to look for the position. See if we get a pullback here on the open. I'm going to mark this as 930 just so we know where we are in regards to that. Getting a pop on the futures. ES futures are popping. VIX still trading on or up. It's still up. So right now you're testing the intraday VWAP on hype from underneath. Clearly see that momentum is to the upside on the near term. Let's see where our cumulative volume deltas are setting. We're completely bearish on the 30-second, 1 minute, 15 minutes. So basically all time frames are bearish on cumulative volume delta, or you're at least under the 0 line. Bartcoin, the same thing. Cumulative volume deltas suggest more sell side activity in today's price action than buy side. So maybe we should just short FART and not look to be a buyer, since the market's red across the board at the open. What do you guys think? Never mind, it's working now. It's just you with no sound, I'm assuming, because everything is working on my end. So if you got no sound, refresh. All right. It's pretty bullish still, though. Let's say we're going to see a bearish engulfing. So I'm going to take a small scalp on short, on FART, sorry, because it's up. I'm going to go in with a small position size on the beginning. Opening short. We'll see if we get some downside momentum here. This is going to be our 930 open. So as long as we're trading under this, we're okay. We got the week open down here. That would be a beautiful profit target, if we get moving in that direction, of course. Bitcoin rolling over on the open, but it's testing the week open now. We do not see an influx of volume coming in down here just yet. So if we're going to see a continuation to the downside from today's pullback based on the VIX gapping up, then the reason we want to short FART is because it's literally the only one on the watch list that is up. Well, that's not true. Bonk is up 3.7% as well. Bonk has a lot of bullish momentum based on that ETF news, but it does look like the bullish momentum is drying up, at least for the last 2 days. You've really done nothing today. For me, I can't trade more than 100,000 bonks, which would be not much money as far as a position size. So I think I'm going to leave that short open on FART. See if we can roll over, because it has been acting like it wants to break out to the upside today, but every time it gets up here, it's failing. And it did that yesterday as well. And it got momentous moves away from this weekly res too. So it's not just rolling over slowly when it gets there. It gets there, can't go any higher, and then rolls over with some steam. Momentum. So it does look like there is some big sellers up there. For whatever reason, that has not been able to break out yet. Let's just say that. All right. Get some water in the old stomach. Now we just wait. We just wait to see if we get our momentum. First target, take profit, would be one spot 1698. That's the weekly open. You also have an intraday gap there, which is weird because this thing has plenty of liquidity. But you can see this gap. That might be exchange only. It could just be on the Binance exchange. That just would mean literally that gap isn't there on other exchanges. But this thing trades, as of right now, it's got over 108 million in trading volume. So it trades good. Heavy volume. Compared to others like BOME, the BOME, this thing doesn't even trade 1 million contracts. It trades in the 100,000s. Like a normal day is a few 100,000, 200,000-300,000 coins. That's very thin liquidity, and you can see it in the chart. So Fartcoin has a lot of volume. It is a very popular asset to trade because it is nothing more than a speculative vehicle, and traders love speculative vehicles simply because they have momentum. You need momentum in order to make a little bit of cash. As if something is just moving 0.1% every day, you're not going to get big moves. You want things that have a regular movement of about 3 to 8%. Anywhere in that range, you're going to be able to scalp it away. Scalp. So that's what we're looking for. The reason I don't like the short is because this thing is bullish. It's bullish on the daily. It's bullish. It's up on the week. Of course, it just opened last night. But I mean, it's bullish, right? You got bullish momentum here. You're flagging out even. I hate buying bull flags. You're above the 50 on the daily. You're above the 50 on the weekly. I hate being a seller on assets like that. All right, ES is testing the intraday VWAP again. It has rejected it and then traded right back up into it. This could be very bad news for our short. Let's see if we can get some downside momentum on Bitcoin. It's going to be iffy because you're already trading on the lows. So we could potentially hedge out our Fartcoin short by buying the July open on hype. So that way Bitcoin does bounce. If risk markets do trade up today, we get stopped out of the fart and we catch the upside momentum on hype. Let's give it a shot. Since it's impossible to guess direction or anticipate even. All right. Ooh, the advanced decline line is down -0.1. It's under 1,000. It's at 1063. So there's bearishness in the markets today. I'm gonna go look. Let's go look at the market watch. Let's see, Nvidia. You got your tech that's red. It's not deep red, but it's red. And then we can go to the index watch and see where the S&P 100 is. Yeah, you've got 38 advancing, 65 declining, and the biggest decliner of the day, Tesla. So we'll see if we can get some downside momentum here. There's Tesla. Gapping down. Breaking under. Ooh, 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 ooh. Tesla might be a scalp to the downside. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Getting, let's see here. Go to the options. We're going to pull up Tesla. We're going to look for a put. This is going to be a very fast trade here. I'm going to give it a minute. We're currently in the fart short, so we're good. Okay, over there, we're already positioned. So we want to see if Tesla rejects down here. S&Ps, like I said, those are moving up. And what's gold doing? Gold is down a little bit, not much. What's GLD? 304.75. All right, so if Tesla rejects 295, we'll buy a 295 strike put. Why does it? Thank you. $4 days to expiration. That's a $840 trade. It's a fast mover though. Let's get our analysis here on Tesla. It's breaking down under this triangle. This is $100 wide. So Tesla, if it gets downside continuation from here, could ultimately trade down $100 according to that measured move. Let's turn off all these indicators and put on the all indicator or all charts pattern indicator. Massive target of $78. I don't see that happening. No way, I don't see that happening. So you're going to have to give Tesla a minute because a lot of people are seeing this breakdown of this triangle. So a lot of people are going to be looking for shorts on Tesla today. Pingu shorting. Who's Pingu? Rudy says Tesla is a short. Yeah, that's what I just said. That's exactly what I just said. I literally said that. It's breaking down. So if it gets back in the triangle, you cannot be a seller because then you've broken back to the upside, back up into the range. That literally means everybody who is short is stuck. Right? So you got to be careful. You want to see resistance here before you jump into the short. Where's our downside targets on Tesla for today? Downside target 284.60. That's a significant downside target. That's a $7 move. Get us here. We want this. So you're holding VWAP for right now. Point of control is down here on the lows. That makes sense as we just opened. Volume building up here. People jumping in the shorts. Downside, first downside target 284.70. And then Farcoin not rolling over. We got a pretty good move lower here on the open, but it's just I don't like that. Where is the Bitcoin open? Up there. The Bitcoin looks good for the short. Still trading on the lows. Hype not holding support at July's open. Current 4-hour low on hype, or the previous 4-hour low, is right here. This is the area where we would expect to see support hold the ultimate the lowest line in the sand. 39.42. Back over to Tesla. Tesla's already down 7%, almost 8%, guys. But it's broken down. You've gotten your breakdown there. You haven't made a fresh daily low yet, but you've made lower closes on the 30 and 1 minute chart. 30-second 1 minutes, not on the 5 minute yet. We just opened the 5 minute candle. 230 to 250 is support. That's a very large support range you got there. Very large support. We do objective levels for support. If you're new here, objective levels. You got May's open down here. This could be support. This is May's low down here. So you could liquidate May's low and then go right back into May's range, right? So we got May's open as objective support or potential support, and then we've got May's low as 271 as potential support. You break that and lose that, well, then you can look into April's candle, right? April's lows all the way down to 214. April's open coming in at 263. Let's see what April's open is. 263.80. But we're not going to worry about that unless we break down, right? Because right now you've got a lot of people trying to take a short because of the breakdown of this clear triangle pattern here. So retail is going to be looking for that short. Some retail traders will not short it until it makes a fresh low of day, guys. Hype bouncing a little bit here back up to the July open. We want to see the July open hold as support. So what can we do here? Let's go with 3. Damn it. Don't want that white chart. Why won't it let me pick the charts? Screw it. We'll keep it on 8. We'll just watch it. It's nothing to bounce back and forth. All right, the fart coin is not rolling over. The fart coin is not rolling over yet. See, it's been doing this literally all day. So, I mean, you can't go up and you can't go down. You're just chopped. This thing is going to break out soon. It's either going to break out to the upside or the downside. You've got a beautiful upside target being a double top here on Fartcoin. Upside target 1.22. But the problem is I don't buy daily highs. So hype is on the lows. It's at the value area low here. Very choppy for a long time. What? 1, 2, 3, 4 hours this thing's been not breaking down. So I like the long on hype. And we have an objective level to watch, July's open. That should ultimately be support. It's been support for the last 3 hours. You have an outside candle here on the hourly time frame. The close on this candle is in 9 minutes. It's going to be very important. Does it close as a bullish engulfing, or does it close as a bearish engulfing? It's not going to give you a directional bias, but still important. Tesla's not bouncing. I mean, it's bouncing. It's not making fresh daily lows. That should be very worrisome for shorts, as market's been open 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Intraday VWAP right here. This thing could get some steam if it gets above 294.59. You have a massive gap down. Look at this gap down here. What just happened? Froze up on me. There we go. We're not dropping frames, so this is on TradingView. For some reason, it does not want to give me my 30-second chart. Why will you not just do it already? A lot of shorts in this thing today, guys. A lot of people looking for that big downside break on Tesla. So, I mean, if you were looking to buy Tesla and you were $1 billion guy, right? You had billions under management, you would be needing all of this short liquidity to buy. It would be a perfect buying opportunity for a big investor. But why is Tesla so weak as of late? Like, this was a bull trap here in a sense. Not quite. No, it didn't make a bull trap. It came up, tested that, and rolled over. I think you're safe as long as you're closing candles consistently under the intraday VWAP. I don't think this right here is going to make a difference, but I think you're safe. Clearly you're safe if it stays under this, right? You start closing candles up above that, you're going to be in trouble. Because it does not take long for Tesla puts to get losing money. Like, literally, that thing is a fast mover. Barcoin getting a bullish rip. Back above the 930 open. Hype literally struggling to do anything. Bitcoin getting a nice move to the upside here. I'm going to jump out of the fart until it decides what it wants to do. Remember, small losses. I don't want to be holding shorts while it's liquidating day highs, especially knowing that there's a double top up here to go grab. I don't mind holding shorts if we're below the value area high. But if it gets going, that's going to be good news for us if hype gets going as well, because we are hedging off that loss potentially with this long. They do not trade the same, obviously. Hype is down on the day. Fartcoin's up 3%. Tesla is going down to make a new daily low, so you're going to have some break-in momentum scalpers jumping on the short side of Tesla here. If you shorted it up at like 292 or even higher, I would take profits ahead of this, or right now, like just in case you do not get that downside momentum. We should see downside momentum. This is a fresh breakout to the downside. So if it can keep that weakness, it should get a big move today, right? There's your fresh 1 minute low on the day. And then here comes downside continuation. Profit target 284.70. Point of control is shifting lower. That's what we want to see. Risk markets above. The ES is above intraday VWAP. NASDAQ is also. You're up on the day on Apple, up on the day on Microsoft, then you're up on Nvidia. Just on the day, you're still gapping down on Nvidia. But that gap has been filled. SPX is down 19 ticks, or 19 points, sorry, which is less than 1%. It's 0.3% on down. Fartcoin breaking out, making fresh daily highs. Tesla making fresh daily lows. Coming into that weekly resistance, we have seen Fartcoin consistently reject this area with momentum. Last 3 days. See if it rejects it today. I would probably wait for this double top liquidation. As that seems to be what it's looking for. Hype moving up. We're above the July open. Finally. Can it hold it? Love to see that. Back up to 930. That's what we want to see. The dynamic risk management can give you trades like this all the time. It can give you more opportunities because you can get in and out. You're more nimble. Your position size is smaller. This way, when you're not right on direction for the first opportunity or the first attempt, you're not taking a huge hit on your account balance. I think every new trader should trade with dynamic risk management. Tesla rejecting the low of day. Tesla retesting the intraday VWAP. It could get some momentum going if it gets above that. That's why it's so dangerous to short things after it's had a huge move lower. It's already down 8%. Very bearish here on your cumulative volume delta on the 1 minute. Very bearish on the 30-second, 5 minute. You're going to be bearish across all time frames on the cumulative volume delta. That just says that more people are hitting the ask. We know that because of the breakdown. Fartcoin rejecting once again weekly res. Man, that liquidation of that double top is so close, though. It's so risky trying to short that. All right. Tesla rejecting here a little bit. This is what the shorts want to see. And NASDAQ is back under the intraday VWAP. So that would be helpful for Tesla shorts. NVIDIA is not really helping you guys out, right? NVIDIA is up on, it's green on the day, but it's down from Thursday's gap down. Your VIX is still above the yearly opening range. VIX is still above the yearly opening range on a big gap up. So a lot of people were expecting downside continuation on the VIX today based on last week's trading, but last week was a very thin liquidity week, being a holiday week, a shortened week. It looks like sellers are taking advantage of that. On the normal risk markets, you did get a bounce on your advanced decline line. You're up to -700. We opened at -1,200. So your advanced decline line is pushing to the upside. The advanced decline line just measures like your broader market sentiment. XRP ripping bullish, Poita says. It sure is. XRP has liquidated last week's high. So if XRP is going to reject, here would be the place I would expect it to do it. So if you are long on XRP, then you should take profits here. This volatile move could just be a liquidation break, right? Go up, get last week's high. Let me see here. Wow, look at that. You smoked every single weekly high up to May 26th open. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a fresh 6-week high. So you will see profit taking going on here for sure. I don't know that it'll reject, but if it's going to, this would be where I would want to put that sell side risk on, right here. And give Fartcoin the ability to do that, guys. It's going to do that also. Maybe, right? We just saw XRP do it. Now, in Fartcoin's case, it's not going to be a weekly high. It's just going to be these 2 days. We'll put XRP on the watch. Why is that at forex.com? We get the same scenario. No. So ignore the analysis. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. Sorry, it is. Yeah. Fresh 6-week highs here. Fartcoin fresh day highs. Hype moving in the up direction. We're almost up on the day with hype. I don't know that you should short XRP. Bitcoin only down 0.5%, so it's reclaiming its daily losses. S&P 500 did just give you a pretty sizable move below the intraday VWAP, making a fresh intraday cash market low. It's not a fresh daily low on the futures though. Fresh daily low on the cash market, instant rejection. I never like to see that for downside continuation. I want to see it go once it breaks down. Tesla is moving to the upside. This is going to threaten all the shorts. A lot of liquidity getting smoked on Tesla. This is going to be a failed breakdown if you close back in this triangle. And if that's the case today, at the end of the day, I might buy Tesla. For at least gap fill, right? Or at least midpoint gap fill. So the 618 would be a beautiful upside profit target. As long as it's not a huge up day. I'm not going to buy it while it's in momentum, right? I want to buy it on a pullback or something. But if you want to scalp momentum, I guess you could. That's how most scalpers do it. Hype moving nicely and uply for us. We like that. Love to see it. And hype's not really, I mean, it's already liquidated yesterday and Saturday's swing high. Friday's swing high is the next liquidation point for hype. The 786, this I don't think this is the right fib. Okay, the red fib is last week's range. And once again, everything closed up on the week last week, not down. So that red fib is now got to be changed to an up fib. We held the 618 and the 786 retracement of last week's range, and you're pushing higher from that point. Tested yesterday's midpoint, and so far it's holding. Can we break out to the upside? That's what we need to see. It's a good looking bullish hourly engulfing. Like I said, we had what, 6 minutes on the close, 10 minutes on this hour close, and look what it did. It closed as a bullish engulfing. It was literally testing July's open when we were speaking about it. Right here. Oh, sorry, right up in here. And it closed as an hourly engulfing. The last few minutes of the day. Or the last few minutes of the candle, sorry. Tesla's in the 6% now. You've made a fresh daily high. So rip shorts. Let's see if it rejects the downside of this. I'd call it, what kind of a triangle? It's just a triangle, right? It's not ascending or descending. It's symmetrical. Rip shorts. 296.70. Is that 2 week level? No, that 2 week level is way up there. Wow. Why is that up there? That's not a 2 week low. Why is the 2 week low up there? That's a 1 week low. Oh, 2 weeks. Got it. That's the 2 week low. Risk markets getting a slight rejection to the downside. VIX really isn't doing anything one way or the other. It had a move up on the open and it's just kind of chilling. It's like in the midpoint of the range. Bitcoin also has a bullish engulfing hourly candle. We got some time before we get the hourly close or 4-hour close. What does it look like on the 2-hour? 2 hours still red. Just barely though. Bitcoin's trying to hold the intraday low value, the value area low, and your July VWAP. We can go real fast. See, open interest isn't up high as it was. It's up, but it's not up super high. So you spiked over here when we made the all-time high. That's when you had the all-time high on open interest. The open interest has cooled off a little bit. Generally, you want to see open interest at highs before you start to get that bearish pullback potential. Liquidations. Big chunk of liquidity under the lows still on Bitcoin. So this little spike right here is still, you're still under the intraday VWAP on Bitcoin. There's still weakness in it. I think I'll jump in at Tesla short here if it can reject this 295 level again. Just a quick looking for a potential move lower. So Fartcoin is rejecting the highs, daily highs. XRP rejecting weekly highs again. That weekly res, man, I'm telling you. It's tough. Tough stuff. Back to Tesla, because we're looking for this pullback. We got it. I'm going to jump into the short real fast. We got 10 seconds on this close. Oh, I got closed positions. Yeah, I'm not trading Tesla. See, we could close. I really don't want to close any of those. All right, I take it on the big account. I'll just give me a second here. We're rejecting the highs also on. I'm gonna miss it. Never mind. I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna chase Tesla. I'm gonna miss it. I hit the buy the put on the small account and it said insert funds. That's always embarrassing. I thought the large account wasn't pulled up just yet. That's all right. We'll leave Tesla alone. Tesla's a little too volatile today anyway. But if it holds the breakdown today, this could be a longer term swing trade on Tesla. It's not just a scalp, right? We want to see if it can maintain the breakdown below the ascending or the symmetrical triangle. If it can, then we're looking for a much larger move to the downside on Tesla, just based on a technical breakdown, right? It's not really wise to short an asset that's trading above the intraday VWAP. Fartcoin rejecting here. Weekly res. And then Hype is also rejecting. Back down to red on the day. So, yeah, that's not looking great. You could take a shot at Fart on the short side at 4-hour resistance. Right here. If you want to short it, this is your 4-hour res. That's an objective level to watch. Your high of day would be your stop loss. Remember, small position sizing, dynamic risk positioning. This way, if you're wrong on direction, you're not eating a full loss on your account. This gives the market, it gives you time, it gives you more maneuverability. The market can be chaotic, do what it wants to do before it's going to actually become a trend on the day. I mean, this doesn't look good for upside, right? When you're consistently rejecting a specific price point with momentum even. It seems like it does want to go up there and liquidate those days, but sellers just keep coming back. Now, people are still going to be buyers on pullbacks all day. Bitcoin rejecting that trend line from the highs. This trend line from all-time high to this high. So on a retest intraday, it's rejecting it. So it looks like Bitcoin's wanting to come down here and liquidate these swing lows. Double bottom right here. 107,787. That also lines up with this huge white hot liquidity zone. Thin liquidity under 106.8. So if Bitcoin is trading under 106.8, you don't want to try to step in and buy that momentum. That's down here under the July open. Because under that, you could see a huge move lower, right? Because it's very thin down there. We don't necessarily want to look for price to reject when it gets to thin liquid areas because it can keep going down. The VIX is still gapped up, but the OBS Studio disconnected and OBS reconnected. Why is OBS disconnecting? Not dropping any frames. We are maintaining 10,000 kilobytes per second on the internet speed, so I don't understand why OBS is just automatically shutting itself down. This looks good for hype. This looks like a normal continuation upside candle here. As long as it can maintain this bullish engulfings midpoint, we still like it to the upside. There's still a lot of time on that candle. I don't want to see it really trading back under the 930 open, but it's going to do whatever Bitcoin does today. Fartcoin gave you your 4-hour test of resistance. So if you were looking for the short entry, that would have been the time to do it. Risk is high day. XRP ripping bullish. That's the last comment. It did rip bullish. It's kind of rejecting the weekly highs. So you've liquidated the weekly highs and so far have rejected, but it definitely did rip up. I would not want to short something that strong, but here's the thing. That's a pretty significant area, right? So that would be a weekly swing high here as well. So there's still an upside target on this. It's right there. So since it has this much bullish momentum, do you want to step in front of that? We can get rid of June's VWAP. We don't need it. We've got July's in there. Tesla is kind of just stalling out here. It's not going back lower. Looks like it's wanting to actually go higher. But, you know, going to be a lot of sellers right here. I'm sure of it. I just don't know that they're going to win. This is why I don't do breakdown strats. Boom, boom. This is actually a bullish signal when you make a fresh low of day and then instantly go up and make a fresh high of day. That's more bullish than bearish. Even though you're down 6% on the day, it's still more of a bullish signal. Now, clearly it can do this all day. It can continuously make fresh daily highs and fresh daily lows. That's what we call chop. So don't get chopped up, right? Identify that it is chopping when it is chopping. Like Fartcoin is doing. It is chopping. You're not getting upside momentum and you're not getting downside momentum. You're just chopping. It's trending, but it's choppy. It's just not getting the breakout, right? Which is what we want to see. We want to see the break. And hype. Going to be a lot of trading taking place right here. And then it might suss out market direction. We're still up on the trade because we bought the July open. But if it gets back down here, we will not be. Still got plenty of time here. It's just 10:22. Around 11:30 is when the volume really starts to dry up. I don't see a gigantic volume spike up here. So it does kind of, fit that it could just roll over for the rest of the day. But we'll see. Testing 4-hour resistance again. The 2-hour looks like bullish continuation. But there's still a lot of time on this candle. This candle just opened 30 minutes ago, right? The hourly still is situated more for bullish continuation than bearish continuation, as long as the midpoint of this bullish hourly candle is intact at the close. We don't care that it wicks under it. It can trade 5-minute candles under it. It's the hourly close. We want to see it respect the midpoint of your breakout candle. And then if that's the case, then the upside is still more probable. Oops, sorry. And that's just because that's the direction that the momentum is, right? The order flow up to this point has been bullish. Clearly, it doesn't mean that it will go up. It just puts the probabilities on the day staying up. Like if the sellers just aren't able to get bearish momentum from this point, then I would say there's some big buying going on, soaking it up. And you're still an inside candle on Fartcoin. That's the one takeaway. The XRP's already done the liquidation. But it looks like people are buying the pullback. When you're in trend like this, last 3 days have been trending higher then that puts the probabilities on the buy side. You can see the volume is coming in here. So if your point of control gets shifted up here, then I would absolutely look for upside continuation. What is Bonk doing? Bonk is barely up on the day. So Bonk has almost retraced the entire day's range, but at a very, very pivotal area down here. This is an old 4-hour resistance from here. That's about all it is. You currently have a 4-hour bearish engulf on Bonk, but still clearly the pressure is to the upside. So your 4-hour resistance also lines up with the value area high. Can't break down. Won't break down. It's just going to take some time. You guys are quiet, or something messed up with the chat. Let me pop it out, see if that fixes it. Looks like you guys are just quiet. Virtuals short. What's the ticker? Give me a ticker. I don't know what virtuals is. So you give me a ticker, I'll go look at it. Absolutely, I don't have any problem looking at things. We're just kind of giving the market time to suss out direction here. You can type this the ticker in for virtuals DC. I'll look at it. Virtual is the ticker. So let's go look at the perpetual swap. Yeah, it's getting fresh downside continuation today. Yeah, you're at a very big level of potential support, being 2023's open. Up 2024, sorry. But I do like it. I mean, it's got bearish momentum. On the year, you're testing July's open right now. So you're into a potential support level, but I mean, you held the 618 of last week's range and you rejected that area. Yeah, it does. I think you're probably going to see downside continuation, but I wouldn't be taking a fresh short here because you're a bullish, you're a bearish engulfing candle already. Right? So you've already moved more than yesterday. Your daily range is bigger than yesterday's range already. So by taking a fresh short here, literally what you're telling the market is you think it's going to go lower. And it's already a pretty stretched out market to the downside. Here's the thing. Obviously, it can continue to go lower, but it fits also. Look at the daily ranges. The last 3 daily ranges, they're about the same size. So I couldn't take a new short here, but if you're already holding a short from above 158 or 157 even, if you're holding a short above 157, I think you're on the right side of the market, and I don't think you should do anything with it. You could take a little bit of money off the table, take some profits because you're into a potential support zone being July's open, right? This is July's low. July's high is way up there. So, I mean, it does look like you're on the right side of the trade. If you're already short, I would not open a fresh short here. Could you get downside momentum and break down and get a bearish candle this big? Of course you could. But that's pretty much what you would need in order to make a decent money off of the trade. Because if you're going to risk, what are you going to risk? Your daily high? I mean, nah, that wouldn't make much sense. Because I wouldn't expect a daily candle to have that size of a range. Right? Just to get back down to July's low is just a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Why didn't that yellow line? What did I do there? The 23 didn't stick. I mean 24. Yeah, I think it looks good for downside continuation, but I wouldn't open a new short. I wouldn't buy it either, for sure. Okay, so hype is rolling back over. We're back under July's open. The 4-hour res short on FART is working for now. Bitcoin is back under 1% down. So that means it's literally about to make fresh daily lows. FART coin rolling over from the 4-hour resistance and the value area high. That's good. That's what you want to see. We might be getting ready to see an expansion lower on FART coin. Finally. Downside targets on FART coin. The week open would be my first primary target to take profits. I wouldn't doubt it if you don't wiggle a bit here at the daily VWAP, but ultimately, if you break down, I honestly believe you could check the week open again. Which it's also the daily open, but Tesla's still hanging out down 6.7%, so it's not getting back above that downside trend line. So it does look like the shorts are winning here. I had a buy ready for XRP at 2.287, but was too slow. Now I'm scared. Yeah, don't chase price. Don't ever chase price. That's the worst thing to do for a retail trader, is to chase something. You've already missed the move. You've clearly missed it. Clearly. Right now, you can see Bitcoin is making fresh daily lows, or getting ready to. FART's rolling over from that weekly resistance and 4-hour resistance. Hype is back under the 930 open and the July open. So it is looking like the sellers are winning out for now. So by you chasing XRP literally means you could be buying into what I said. This could have been simply just a liquidation break. So where are you going to buy it? Where? I wouldn't want to. I mean, if it holds support, so you've got time, right? If you're looking at like your hourly chart, you have the benefit of time. So you don't have to rush. You got 24 minutes left until this hour candle closes. And my rule, it goes the same. Like if this hourly midpoint is holding, then that means, yeah, there's a chance at least that the buyers are propping it up. But if you lose the midpoint, then it starts to look more like a failure. And remember, Bitcoin is failing right now a breakout. It's a trend line breakout. That's what Bitcoin is failing to do. It is literally failing this breakout. So it could catch support, but this right here is going to bring the sellers into it. Anybody that didn't sell, just take yourself into, like, if you're holding profits and you break out, you break back under the breakout point and you didn't sell, then you get back above it, you're still not selling, and now you're back under it. You're probably selling now. You're probably looking at that saying, well, that's a 2-time fail. So it's probably going to want a deeper correction here. Now this is last week's range that we've got fibbed here. So moving on into the week, not today, but moving on into the week. As long as Bitcoin maintains the 786 retracement of last week's range, I can be a buyer. But not way up here. It's got to get down here, test it, and hold as support. If that happens like tomorrow or Wednesday, then you could be a buyer. But right now it's failing the breakout. So right now it could, and you got all that liquidity, remember, down to 1068. That's where it gets thin. So if you just push down all day slowly down to 1068, you could bounce there. You could also slice right through it, depending on how many people are taking profits based on this double break failure. So a good rule of thumb, I think retail traders would just do much better if they would look at the higher time frame charts. Because when you're looking at the really small charts, the 30-second, 1 minute, 5 minute, you're seeing big candles on the 5 minute. So you're thinking, oh, the sellers are here, but if you're not really seeing how big of a move that is. Whereas if you're looking at a 4-hour candle, you can see you're failing to break out here. And then if you just watch this 4-hour candle's close, does it close above the midpoint or below the midpoint? If it closes below the midpoint, that doesn't necessarily mean that it will not go up. But what it does mean is it was so weak it was unable to close above the midpoint of that 4-hour close. And if that is the case, then you can watch for resistance tests. So like if XRP closes down in here, below the midpoint, then you could potentially be a short at resistance on the next 4-hour candle's retest. If you get it. If you even get it. Because we know the sell side usually has more volatility, right? Because it causes panic selling. So look at Farcoin now. Remember what I said when we were testing 4-hour resistance? This thing could make a bearish engulfing 4-hour candle. You're so close to doing that now. Literally so close to doing that. Testing the intraday VWAP here. And you had 15 minutes to take the short at 4-hour resistance. You got 2 tests of it. You could have gotten short there. I had already said we have rejected this weekly resistance with momentum many times. So that would have been an opportunistic point to look for the short. It's also confluent with the value area high. So now we're seeing that momentum. People did short there. People are looking to short it. Bitcoin's red on the day. It just made fresh daily lows. This is after a day low liquidation. Multiple day low liquidations. Here's your day low at the beginning of the session. That day low was liquidated here. This then becomes your day low. That day low was then liquidated here. That becomes your day low here, so on and so forth. So you've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fresh daily lows. How many liquidations do you need to make? At this point, I wouldn't call it a low day liquidation. I'd call it a downtrend. All right, the day's bearish. It's trending lower. Making fresh daily lows. That would put a little bit of pressure on your alts. However, there is a pretty big spike coming up here, but still 3 days of downside on dominance. That's why Fartcoin's even up, right? Because of weakness in dominance. But it's failing. Hasn't failed yet. Hasn't made that low yet. But this isn't what you want to see for upside continuation. It's doing the exact opposite. Still a lot of time on this candle, and if it closes back above this bullish candle's midpoint, that's still going to look okay. So buyers will look at that chart and be like, still looks okay to the upside. The hourly chart does not look good for the upside continuation, but it's the close that's important. 17 minutes left on this candle's close. Does it close back up here? If it does, it's going to look okay. It's just going to look like intraday chop. It's going to look like the daily midpoint is holding, right? These are just things to kind of help you gain perspective as to actually what's taking place in the market in the day's range. You're not closing hourlies below the daily midpoint, so it's still not that significant. As far as weakness is not that significant yet. And then hype is exactly the opposite, right? It can't close an hourly candle above the day midpoint yet. You did get above the daily midpoint here and here, and then rejected. So there's only so many rejections that's going to happen before this thing cuts loose, either to the upside or the downside. Same goes for Fartcoin. It's only going to be sideways for a specific amount of time. Then it's going to cut loose. And then hopefully we will be positioned for it when it does cut loose. Whether it's to the upside or the downside, we don't care. But even though right now it's failing weekly resistance, the daily candle still is up and it still looks okay to be a buyer. Even as of right now, you're still holding the intraday VWAP. You're still holding July's VWAP. So ultimately, this could be a bullish retest of the midpoint, and then you could see that for the rest of the day. It could just slowly trade higher for the rest of the day. So we would, for the short, you definitely want to see this thing start to cut loose to the downside here. But it's failing to do that. Very choppy trading here. I hate it. I hate it when it's choppy like this. And you'll kill your accounts by jumping in and out, in and out, in and out. I'm still holding my long on hype. I haven't gotten out of it yet. It doesn't look good, but I haven't gotten out of it yet. And I did take the short on the 4-hour res test on FART. So my positions are kind of hedged off, but they're still very small positions. Not adding to it simply because it's not getting continuation, either one of them. I need to see continuation so I can add. I need to see that continuation to add to it. We're not seeing continuation. The positions are very similar, right, in size. This ROI is only what is being returned or lost on this money right here, not my total account. A normal position size is like $1,000, so I'm in this very light. Very light. So even if I'm negative 20, 30 bucks, I'm not even risking 1% of my account's equity. It's so small. The total account's equity is 15 grand, but I only trade with like 1,000 on alts. With Bitcoin, I'll hold position size up to $3,500. But on alts, I use very small position sizing because they move so fast. If this thing were to get downside continuation, like if we look back at this chart tomorrow and there's 5 big bearish 4-hour candles, this thing's going to be up multiple hundreds of dollars. 400, 500, 600 bucks. They move fast. So it just makes it much easier to mitigate my risk. This way I'm not blowing my account by getting chopped up, because it's clearly choppy. There's a 4-hour chart. This first 4-hour candle that you see is from July the 3rd. Today's the 7th. We haven't went anywhere. This red line is where price is currently trading. It is still trading inside of this 4-hour freaking candle. We haven't gone anywhere. We start closing price under this candle, then we will be going somewhere. You got one here. You got one here. But it rejected and went right back into the range. So that is the very definition of a choppy market. When it cuts loose, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4-hour candles in a row, that would look good, right? That's what I'm looking for, it to cut loose like this. This is piano keys. It still looks more bullish than bearish, though, doesn't it? I mean, as long as it's holding the 50, it's still bullish. It just isn't going anywhere. You're also making higher lows on this range. So it's tightening up. So we're getting ready to see a break. And by going in small, I can catch that break, hopefully, right? That's the point of dynamic risk management, to basically keep you from losing your money while it's doing this garbage. And then eventually you get positioned in the right way, and then you catch a 2-day trend and your account swells up. It gets swolled. That's what we're looking to do right there. Swell it. Make it swolled. Make it big. Make it rain. And we will. But for now, it's a little touchy, right? Touchy. Doesn't want to break out. So what we can do here, we could draw another triangle. Not gonna be a great triangle. I would even probably say we could go as far as do something like this. Right? So we know we're getting close. And this trades a lot of volume. 107 million coins have been traded today. So we're getting ready to see a break. Since we're failing the rejection, since we're failing the weekly resistance, just made sense to go ahead and put it on a short while it's up here. And then if it fails to break down at support, then we'll close out that short and we'll put on a long, but with a small position size. Then when you get the confirmation break close, you can add on a retest. When it pulls back in, you can add to your position. Then it'll bring your cost basis up. Or the same for the downside. If you caught the 4-hour short, if you get the downside break, then when you pull back into, say, the weekly open or the weekly low here, you can add to that short and it'll bring your cost basis to about the midpoint of the range. But now you'll be in big for the continuation. That's what dynamic risk management can do for you. And all the while it's doing this, you're not getting your account destroyed. You're taking very small incremental losses. Very small, little tiny losses. When you get the continuation and you're completely positioned for it, you're going to see that account swell up. It's going to look great. And the same is said for all of these right now. They're all doing it. See, they're all doing it. They're all trading sideways. All of them are. That's because Bitcoin is in a channel. Whenever you have a triangle drawn on the chart and you get a break and it doesn't break, like say here, I had the triangle on yesterday's live stream. We did a channel member live stream. And I was holding this short yesterday, but I took the trade on Saturday. But when it broke back out here to the upside of this, I thought we were going to see that move then. And to be fair, we did get 1, 2, 3 4-hour candles of continuation. But then 1, 2, 3 right back into chop. So that just means my triangle's too small here. Oh, make it bigger. Make it bigger. Now you can see it's rejecting up in here. So maybe it wants to come back and retest down in here. Well, that's a decent little short target. But I'm not short. I'm actually long on hype at the July open because this was bullish. It did break out. It just stopped breaking out. But look at it. It's still trading there. Still. We've been trading here all morning. It's no fun when the markets do this. I get it. I get it. We're not making thousands of dollars. I get it. We will when it breaks out. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. I closed this trade now, right here. I didn't lose $100 on the first trade that I closed. I lost $10. So we're doing all right. And this one will probably lose 15 or 20 bucks. We'll still be doing okay. I don't know which direction the market's ever going to go, guys. Nobody does. It's about how you manage your risk. That's what determines the difference between being consistently profitable or consistent losing. We can't see what price is going to do, but we can be reactionary to what price has done. So we have broken out here on hype. So if this is a bear trap, then we should see this 4-hour candle close bullish. If it closes bearish, then we're going to say, well, this is probably a false break. Out of this little trend, it didn't work. So the triangle's bigger but eventually it will break out. Here was a triangle that I broke out of. Now this break did not last, right? Did not last. And this was a very shitty thing to do right here to everybody. That was a good strong breakout. That was a retest. So people literally bought in there. Hopefully they took profits on their move higher. If they didn't, then they got stopped out here. You're back in the triangle. Resistance, resistance. You're breaking out of the triangle to the bottom side. Weekly res short. You caught continuation. You see what I'm saying? This is what we want to catch. This right here. We don't need to catch this. We can catch this. That's the meat of the move. That's all we want. If we can do that once a month, we're going to be doing just fine. We can do that 10, 15 times a year, you're going to be doing great. So yeah. Now, if you see a bigger trend here, then you could potentially be looking at a massive move lower, right? A measured move of this leg lower. This is chop sideways consolidation. Could potentially be distribution. I don't know what it's going to do, but it could potentially be distribution. So literally, I can close out the long here, potentially enter a new short here. I'm not saying you're going to see that size of a move, but it is possible. I'm only looking to catch the meat of the move. If I could get it in here and get out of it here, I would be happy. That's a big trade on this. This thing moves very fast. Very fast. But we'll see what it does. We'll catch it. We might not get it today. We will catch it. I promise you guys, we will get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We're also going to catch Tesla. It still isn't breaking down. It still isn't filling the gap. We've got time. We don't have to rush into these things. Unless you're a day trade scalper, scalping 5 points in Tesla. If you've done that many times today, you're doing great. But there is a much bigger triangle here. Boom, boom, boom. You could see another boom and another boom before this thing breaks out. This thing might not break out until August, right? But eventually it's going to break, and when it does, there is a potential $100 move in that. The reason you're not breaking down heavy today is probably because a lot of people are buying it because you were going up when you entered into this little bit of consolidation. Up. Now you're sideways. So people are probably looking for it to break out to the upside, just like the bears see it breaking out to the downside right now today. So we still got time, and there's a potential to catch $100 in this. So we do not have to rush. There's a big move in there. $80 from that candle's open to this candle's close. $80 on a Tesla trade on a call or a put option is a massive win. It's a massive win. So we have time. We got plenty of time. It's Monday. We're fine. We're good. Monday. All right, let me read some of these questions. Had to buy ready for XRP. Oh, read that. Good morning, Heath. Can you take a look at TTD? The trade desk. Is that also a crypto? It is not. Okay, so the trade desk. This thing's had a rough year. Rough year. Ugh. Coffee burps. Excuse me. I don't know what happened in February, but man. Why is everything trading inside of May's range, man? We're in July. I put July's open on there. It's just going to get really ugly really fast. Give me a second. I'm just getting all of... I'll tell you exactly what it's done. Last week was bullish. You're in a weekly res. 76.32 is weekly resistance. Actually, you got a lower close, so this close will be resistance until you get above it. You've got June's open there as the level, so there's no point in putting a weekly res in there. The major levels to watch are going to be June and July's open, right? This was a bullish week. It was a continuation upside bullish week. The trade desk is currently holding bullish momentum on the daily. It's bearish momentum on the weekly. So you could be seeing a failure here at the June open, right? Could be seeing a failure here. But so since you're so close to June's open, I could potentially be a seller here as long as it keeps rejecting that price. As long as it's not trading above that for a significant amount of time, right? 30 minutes, and then you're back under it in an hour. You couldn't even close another 30-minute candle above it. So it does look like June's open is right now rejecting price, but July's open is right here. So your potential trading range is going to tighten up here, because you're going to have July buyers buying, and you're going to have June sellers selling. Now, as far as being bullish, for bullish continuation, you can get as low as 71.41 and still be in the context of a 2-week uptrend. Right? I understand that's too much. You can't be a buyer up here knowing that it could retest here. I wouldn't be a buyer up here because it looks like it's rejecting June's open. So if you lose July's open, it's not going to look great. So it's like, since these two opens are so close together, it makes it a very difficult trade. You can say as long as you're holding support above 73.44, you can be a buyer and you can target 74.66. That's just because of the way the cards have laid out here. I would say give it let it get a deeper correction if the sellers are able to push it lower, and then wait, maybe be a buyer at the 618. If you want to be a buyer. You're bearish on the year. Very bearish on the year. I mean, damn. Something bad happened. Clearly. We know what it was. Right? Tariffs. Unless there was something that happened to this company by itself, we know tariffs did that. Because we set all the market lows in April. And the same for this. It just hasn't regained all of that. So there's a pretty good upside on this if it regains it, if it can get it back. Overall, it looks like a decent investing company, but damn, that is one ugly 6-month candle. Like, you almost cut the asset's price in half. Anytime an asset gives up 50% of its value, I have to wonder why. Like, you don't ever see O'Reilly giving back 50% of its value. You know what I mean? So why did this? That's all I got for you on the trade desk. Unfortunately, it's just too close to the June and July levels. I could be a seller at the June open as long as it's holding as resistance based on the year trend, based on the overall yearly trend. More on the near term, it's been bullish, right? It's come off the June lows with gusto. So this would be a decent spot to look to be a buyer as long as it holds support. But until it gets there, I'd probably favor the sell side. Hopefully that works for you. We're getting a little bit of continuation here, but it really couldn't get any continuation the last several days. So I'm not going to hold my breath that we do get it, but it's looking good, and it's about to hit our profit target of the week open. One to look at for crypto coin is Ton for the buy at 277. Let's go look at it. Ton coin. Let's see if I got perpetual futures with it. I do right here. Good. So you're talking like Wall Street bets type of buying, right? Just because it's cheap? Yeah, it's more than cheap. It's been making fresh yearly lows and fresh all-time lows. Or the buy. I don't like the buy. You're under July's open. That makes June's low the target. Maybe after that. I don't like the sell either. Oh, I don't like the sell either because it's been bearish for so long. Most of the shorts have made their money in this thing. The big shorts. They've made their money. So we basically got the same thing going on here as we do across a lot of crypto exchanges. You're just building a triangle. Well, gotta wait for that to break. But I do like the short as long as you're below July's open. Let me write June's low down there, because that's a good downside target. Yeah, I'd be a seller on every test of 290. Not a buyer. I'd be a seller. I would be a buyer only if it liquidates June's low and immediately retraces back up into June's range. If he gives me that, then I could be a buyer with a stop loss below the fresh June low. Well, it's not a fresh June low. It'd be a fresh July low. That's always going to be June's low for the rest of our life, right? June 2025. That low will never change. But if we make a fresh July low and then trade back up into June's range, then I could be a buyer at June's low with a stop under the July low. because I don't want to be holding a long on this if it's making fresh monthly lows. One fresh monthly low and a rejection back into the range, we could take the long based on a liquidation break strategy, but we need to protect that long. And the only way to protect it is by getting a stop under the fresh low. So I don't know that I could buy it until that happens. As long as it's holding resistance at 291, I would be a seller. Now, clearly, I don't want to be a seller if we're breaking out above that price, because you just witnessed me put in a long-term triangle here. So if you break out of that long-term triangle, you could get a move like you're seeing right now on bonk, right? Grok was the one saying that this is breaking out of a descending triangle, but I don't see it. But that's what Grok said. But you could get a move like this if you break out of that triangle on ton. So be careful. It would need to hold resistance. It would need. So this feature is really nice, but it makes it much harder to move charts, dude. I don't know if I like that now. What is up with that? There has to be a better way to do this. Okay, if you hold shift and left click, and you can move the chart wherever you want. So I gotta touch one more button. I do like this feature though, this open, high, low, close. I can see that easier than I can see this up here. I have glasses on, right? I didn't have to wear glasses when I started the YouTube channel. Now I have to wear glasses. YouTube gave me glasses. I'm kidding. I'm getting older. That's why I have to wear glasses. But yeah, I could be a seller below 291. I could be a buyer upon a liquidation break, or I could potentially be a buyer at July's open if it holds as support on a break retest. So if we break out, here and come back in for a retest, then I could buy looking for a move like this on ton. But not until that happens. This happens, then I can be a buyer here or here for that. That's it. Those are the only two ways I'm a buyer on this. Because if we get this, I'm looking for that. Only time will tell if that works. But yeah, is this a fast mover? Can I even trade this? Every new crypto that people bring up to me, it's down 3% on the day. Hype is down not even 1%. LPT's down 1%. So this thing does move. It's down more today than all those other cryptos. This does a lot of spikes. It does a lot of spiky stuff. So spike and then sell back off. Spike, sell off. Spike and sell off. So I'd wait for that fresh July low, or wait for the breakout. Leave it alone until that happens. You can put it on watch, though. We'll watch it, and I will even do this. I will put an alert on this and an alert right here to let me know when to trade this. I also want to put an alert here. There. So when I get the trigger for the alert, then I'll trade it. But until then, I'm going to leave it alone. Greetings, boss, says VT Billions. What's up? I don't know why you keep calling me boss. I'm nobody's boss, but what's up? Smash the like button for this educational video. Yeah, I'd appreciate that. I really much appreciate that. Can we look at the choppy USD JPY? Absolutely. And it is very much choppy. I haven't actually been trading. Where is it? Right there it is. I haven't been trading it because it's been choppy. Ooh, I'm going to have to email TradingView. I don't like that. They're going to have to figure something out. See, nothing happens when I push on the scroll wheel. You need me to open that? No, I'm good. So TradingView, if you're listening, which I know you're not, but I will email you later anyways, instead of having us push and hold left click to bring this up, because it messes with the side-to-side movement of the whole chart. So instead of having that as the feature, since nothing happens when I push down on the scroll wheel, nothing happens. How about moving this function over to the scroll wheel? Thank you. All right, moving on. They should just give me a job. I'll tell them how to make their platform better. Yeah, it's very choppy. Clearly trading in between 2024 and 2025's range. It's trading inside of May's range. It's doing worse. It's actually trading inside of April's range. So since April, you've been trading in a range. April was a really nice downside continuation break. Very nice trending move. And then it just stopped. It just stopped. And it's been sideways ever since. So what do you see happening here? Clearly there's a triangle happening. Beware the false breakouts on triangles, guys. Beware the false breaks on your triangles. So June's open just also happens to be July's open. So we don't need June's open. We can just write July open and we know that's also June's open, right? We got May's open down there. So we do know we're at least on the very near term trending higher. Last week was a down move though. We were breaking out above last week's high. I would say if this can hold old weekly res as support moving forward, you could be a buyer. You already got that support right there, and it was at July's open. This would have been the trade right here. Screw weekly res because of July's open and where you are in regards to your 50 on your RSI. I mean, that was a beautiful, perfect trade there. Like you literally took out the inefficiency zone by trading down to Wednesday's high. And that's literally where you turned around. So that would have been the trade to take. So the next trade to take for potential upside continuation would be here or weekly res. These 2 points for upside continuation. The problem is you're inside of a larger triangle. So it's just going to be a difficult trade still, because you don't know if you're going to get upside continuation or not. Why does that work on the monthly highs, but not on the daily? If that's the monthly high and that's the monthly high, then it should be this freaking high. What is that high? 148.030. 148.030. What is going on? I can understand the weekly being off, but not the monthly, man. All right, there you go. So yeah, I mean, it's Chop City, man. But I mean, if it's going to trend, I would potentially look to be a buyer at 145.236 or 145.854. 144.850. Wait, what is that? 144.861 or 145.236. Jasper going long. Let's see it. JSPR. You're going long, huh? Is this isn't a crypto, is it? No. Is Jasper. No. All right. So this is what you're talking about. You're going long, huh? I guess. Ugh, it's a disgusting chart. There's a reverse split in there. I never like to see reverse splits. They're just basically putting more supply into the market, and it just, right? Like, it's nasty. Nobody that holds money, manages money, is buying this. It's under $5. They're not allowed to hold anything under $5. So that's probably why you're gapping down. The last person sold, or the last person longed it, gap down. I guess you could scalp it. It doesn't look to be a low float. It's a low price stock, but I doubt it's a low float. So I don't even know why you'd be trading it, to be honest with you. Let me pull up FinViz. It doesn't really fit any of my parameters. But maybe you're just doing your own thing here. Yeah, they got a 15 million shares outstanding, so it is kind of a low float. It's not a low floater. Low floaters are like 10 million and under, but it's still not a massive float. So you can get outsized moves on this. Yeah, I mean, maybe. It looks like the news was bearish, though, not bullish. So just be careful, manage your risk. All right, so we're not getting downside continuation here, but it did hit our targets. So hopefully you took profits, right? We got a little bit of a wiggle at the intraday VWAP, like I said, and then went down and hit downside target, or target number 1. Bitcoin is failing to make fresh daily lows at this point. Hype is still trading at July's open. This doesn't bode well for the sellers on Hype. I'm gonna take profits on Fartcoin. It's just $158, so I'm gonna leave it open. I'm just going to make sure that I put a stop loss on Fartcoin lower than my entry, so that way I make back my $10 that I lost on the first attempt. But I'm not going to take profits because it hasn't freaking moved, right? It's still not moving. This is nothing on Fartcoin. Actually, I want to add to this if it's able to break down, but that's not a very long-term symmetrical. It's a very near term, ain't it? Maybe something like that. Yeah, it's broken out. If I were to put a trend line from there to there, that's going to be a breakout. Okay, so it is breaking out. But if you put wit on the wicks, you're nowhere near breaking out. Dude, this thing is refusing to die. This is a big trend line because it's on the line chart. Your line chart trend lines are huge. It helps support. It's still holding the July VWAP. So, I mean, it's still bullish. It still has to have more of a bullish bias to it than a bearish bias. Ah, that's an ugly chart, dude. What is this? Go away. I keep forgetting the whole ship. This is so annoying. All right, let's do this. Let's see what we got here. Not really nothing, right? Let's make this one green or blue because it's the color of the line chart. We'll leave that one white. Oof. It's getting so much stuff on this chart. It's unreadable. Give me a second. I can't stand when the music dies. Popular. Play. All right. So this is the weekly candle range here. All right, so we want to keep that fib. And it is a breakout above this line chart, but it's not on the daily. Okay. So we might have something here. That's a long-term trend line on the line chart. Long-term. So a big spike up on that would be good, but I mean, it could be a trap like what we saw in Bitcoin. But this would probably be the line to watch or the breakout. This one's just too near term. And this one isn't really a trend. We got our last week's fib in place, so we know support could come in right roughly here. And we got this line chart there. Okay, so this is the better triangle here, I think. But you need a breakout, right? On height. A daily close, and then we can look for upside continuation or downside continuation if it closes under it. But we still got a long ways to go. That's why it's struggling to break out. The weekly open and that line chart trend line. All right, we know what we're looking at. I'm gonna get rid of the 930 because it's so choppy intraday that this is where I'm watching. If we start to trend away from it to the downside, then clearly I'm getting out of the long. But Fartcoin really isn't breaking down either. Such a beautiful monthly VWAP test here, here, and here. So I'll just use the VWAP as like the level in the sand for the breakdown on FART. But the downside trend line on this one is much larger, as that's the entire trend that we've had to the upside there. So we can get rid of this one that's too near term. So yeah, if it fails, we want to make this one blue. Then that would also enforce the bias to the downside. But yeah, we break back under the VWAP as it comes in perfectly with the line chart trend line. That will just reinforce the short. So on Fartcoin, a July open short could be a pretty nice trend trade to the downside if it fails. All right, we're positioned for it. Check Virtual's Protocol USD. Thanks. Sure. On MEXC, I can look at it on MEXC, on Crypto TradingView, on Gate.io, on Blowfin. MEXC. $25. We want the 24. Oop. We want June because that's the month we just came out of, and we want July. We want last week, which is a very small week, but the pressure was to the downside. Beautiful 618 test, downside continuation. You got that today. Beautiful short. Absolutely beautiful. That was after liquidating yesterday's high. That would have been an easy liquidation break trade. What time did that happen? Oh, I was going to bed. So that would have been a good one to watch yesterday at the open. Here's your open right here. So you opened, and then 2 hours later you liquidated the previous day's high. That would have been the opportunity for the short. In hindsight, but you would have been watching this level because it was yesterday's high, and it's also the 618 of last week's retracement. So like if you analyze the charts the exact same way that I do, then at the open of today's candle yesterday, you would have absolutely been able to take that. So yeah, I mean, if it's, as it moves forward here, if it's unable to break back above July's open, if that area acts as resistance, I would be able to take a fresh short, but not today. You know what I mean? Not today, because today's range, you've already moved more than you moved all weekend. So today's candle, just in by size, is much bigger than yesterday's candle. So you've already gotten continuation today. So for the rest of the day, it could just trade sideways. All right. So I mean, there's nothing I can do today, but it is a lot more weak than it is strong, because June's open is way up here. See, if June's open was down here, then I would be buying this. I would be able to be a buyer here. But you don't have any monthly, like you're bearish on the year and you're bearish on the month. You don't have anything really. You were bullish for a little bit. 2 months. That momentum is gone. So you've lost that bullish momentum. But here's the thing, the bears have not been able to get anything going to the downside either. I mean, you can watch July's open. You could either be a buyer there, or you could be a seller if you get a breakdown and then you retest it. If it acts as resistance moving forward, you could be a seller. Like later on in the month, not today. It's just weak. It's just weak. But everything, it's also just trading in a range. It's trading inside of May's range. June did break down below May's range, and you closed under May's open. So I would look for that downside continuation because of that. Because June is a trending candle. June is not an inside candle, it's a trending candle. Where the price is currently trading inside of May's range, but June's candle is a trending candle. It did break the lows. It did close below the open. So this is a downtrending candle. And that just happened 3 weeks ago. So this would have been your retest. This should have been the week to break if it was going to be bullish, and it didn't. It tried to and failed. So I would have a target of the previous week's low and then June's low. That is if the weekly open can hold as resistance. So don't necessarily look to take the short right here where it is. But if it goes back up to here, you could short it. Yeah. Ooh, the weekly still has bullish momentum. But you've lost that bullish momentum on the daily. But you lost your bearish momentum too. I mean, you still have bearish momentum, but like, since this price move lower, since this continuation move, you haven't been able to do anything. You haven't been able to get downside momentum or upside momentum. I like it to the downside better. The 8 hour is showing you that you're starting to get that downside momentum back right now. Like literally right now. So I could potentially short today if that 8 hour bearish candle holds the midpoint on the next 8-hour session. So on the next, wherever the next candle opens, you got 19 minutes on this close. Right? So if this candle were to open here and trade up to here, as long as it closes like that, the midpoint of this candle, as long as it closes like that, I could then wait for this new candle to open at 8 p.m. tonight, throw a wick above to liquidate that wick, then I would enter my short as soon as price traded back under that white line and look for this. So it would look like that. Right? Because of this. See how it's been sideways and choppy? So yeah, this could be a trade today for you. Let me see if I can trade it. If I can trade it, I doubt I can, because I don't. Virtual. Yeah, I can trade it. And it's down 3% right now. What's Iris Virtual USDT? It's up 21%. It's only got 106,000 freaking trades in it, though. Look at this thing. What is that? Oh. What is this? This thing's up 23%. Where's the open? Right here. It's not up 23%. There's no way. But if I pull this up and write virtual here, it's this thing. They say it's up 21%. But there's that. And let me see what it's got here. The funding rate is good. Yeah, I'm going to put virtual USDT on the watch list because this might be a trade for tonight at the new candle open. Not today, but at 8 p.m. my time. So when you open the new daily virtual candle, as long as the next candle doesn't close above the midpoint of this breakdown because of this momentum, we're now seeing momentum, so I don't want to see a bigger retrace than this right here. One spot, 5271. As long as that is the deal, then I can look for short entries at that price point. Right here, this price point. So we can actually it's all the way to here. Right there. Yeah. If these candles start trading up for us, right? This is when we want to short it. As long as it holds. We want to see it reverse and go back the opposite way. If you're trading above one spot, 5289, leave it alone. And then manage your risk with this swing high right here. And then all you need is a retest of the lows to be 2-to-1 risk to reward on virtual. Yeah. Thanks for your thoughts, bro. Appreciate it. You're more than welcome. Key levels, Spaceman BTC. Great indicator that gives you customizable monthly, weekly, yearly, hourly levels on any ticker. You can turn off the ones you don't like and turn on the ones you do. That sounds like a sales pitch, bro. I like it. Good stuff. You're good at that. I'm looking for specific things. Like it's not just a random thing, right? I'm looking for specific levels. The month we're in, and if it's trending the last previous low or high, right? I need to know what the objective trend is, because too many people on the internet, too many people on YouTube teach people the wrong way how to analyze trend. They'll throw on a weekly chart and scrunch it all up like this, throw it on log and be like, it's in an uptrend. It is in an uptrend, right? That's an uptrend. If you put a trend line on it, it's up. But my answer to that is no, it isn't. It is not. It is not an uptrend. It is down. It's down on the year. You got to get all the way up here before you can say objectively virtual is up on the year. It's down on the year. If it's down on the year, is it down on the month? Well, it was down last month. So this month you have to assume is going to open up with more sell side activity than buy side activity, because this is a trending candle. You took out the previous month's low and you closed under the previous month's open. This is bearish continuation, objectively, right? It's not subjective, it's objective. So anybody that would look at it the other way will be buying this thinking it's in an uptrend. And professionals will be selling this because they know it is objectively bearish. Objectively bearish. Now, it hasn't broken down yet, but the trade is to look for the breakdown. That's the trade, especially that you got a nice bounce. That means there's a potential long-term target of 0.4231. That would be what? From here, that's 76%. There's a lot of downside target on that. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to go down this low, clearly, because if more people are buying than selling, then it says it has to go up. But objectively, we would be looking for shorts on this based on trend following. Now, you might have other techniques. Use it if it works. I don't ever want anybody to use what I do unless they ain't making money doing what they're doing, right? If what you're doing isn't working for you, then apply my principles. But if what you're doing is making money, keep doing what you're doing. Do not stop. Do not change it for nobody. Because you're making money. That's the objective. That's the goal. That's the goal. But yeah, I appreciate that. Can you possibly look at Pingu? This is Pendle, right? Yeah. Pingu. Yeah, I want you guys to give me all of the tickers that are moving and tradable. Absolutely. Hell yeah. We want to look at the perpetual swap contract though, because this is the futures on spot, right? So the spot market should look identical to this. Let's go look just to make sure. It doesn't. It's exactly opposite. Wait, no, it's not. So June was up, July is down. Same, it's the same. June was up, July is down. There's not a, yeah, there is a year right there. Boom. So objectively for the year 2025, Pingu is in a downtrend. Okay? Objectively, it is in a downtrend. This is when you opened in January. You set a yearly high and then immediately rejected. Then you got downside continuation in February, downside continuation in March, and then April, you made an outside reversal candle. So it's still objectively a downtrend for the year, but it also set the yearly lows in April. And that's where we are across the board. But in other markets like Bitcoin and S&P 500, you did the exact same thing pretty much, only you've since reclaimed the yearly open and made fresh all-time highs. So that's the difference. This is weak, comparatively speaking, to other crypto, to Bitcoin, and to, say, Fartcoin, because Fartcoin is also up on the year, right? Objectively, Fartcoin is bullish. So let's go back to Pingu and give you your near-term. Your near term, very, very near term. So in June, you were bullish. You made a fresh high. You took out June's high and reversed. That's not great news. So right now, you're rejecting June's highs. You're also rejecting the July open. That's not great news. Now, this could just be a pullback, though. You do have good news, as last week was extremely bullish. You closed above the June high last week. That's good news. All right, so on the very near term, you could be a buyer on this. You can be a buyer on this only if you don't start closing dailies under the July open, because if you do, then you're threatening the 786 retracement of last week's range. If you take out 786 of last week's range, then what's being threatened is last week's low. All right. Could you liquidate last week's low and then go up? You could. So you do not want to be a buyer under the 786 until you do that. So you can't be a buyer until you liquidate this low, unless today fails to close under the July open. And then you need to see that happen multiple times. You need to see July's open act as support, or the 786 act as support. And this would be my last place to be a buyer. Last place to be a buyer. And the only reason I would be a buyer is because last week and the week before that were both bullish and had bullish momentum. So if we're going to see bullish momentum carry on into this week or next week on Pingu, it needs to hold 0.014066. If it holds there, then you could be a buyer. Now, you still have bullish momentum on the daily time frame, which is good. So you could technically be a buyer even if you test this. I don't know how low this thing would have to get to test that, though. I don't love that. So let's break it down even more. Let's break it down even more. All right, perfect. So you want to see this close right where it is. So like right here, right now. You got 5 minutes on this candle's close. You want to see it close above July's open. Then you could be a buyer as low as this, as long as when you liquidate it, you reverse. Or if you close above the July open, you can buy the July open and mitigate your risk from there. Let me see if that's a good risk mitigation point. So 0.0010. Okay, right here. Yeah. Yeah. You could set this trade up to risk 0.5% or even a full percent. It gives you a 2-to-1 risk to reward, and that puts you under last week's low. I'll pause it so you can get that. Oh, I'm not going to pause it. You can pause it now on the video if you want to get those levels. I do not know that you will make 1 penny off this trade, okay? I'm not saying you will make money. But if you want to take this trade to the upside, that is the trade that you can take. That's it. It doesn't mean you'll make money, but that's a good setup. I don't like getting long things that are weak, right? I just don't like it. This is weak on the year. It's very weak. I'm not saying that it won't reclaim that strength. Hopefully you get in it and it does do that. That's what I would want to see happen for you. I would love to see you take that exact trade, come back to my live stream 3 weeks from now, and Ping will be trading for $20 a token. I would love nothing more than that to happen for you. The probabilities of that happening are very, very slim. I'd say you'd probably have a better chance winning the lottery. You know what I mean? But that's the setup. That's the setup. If you start getting downside continuation from this 8-hour candle's low, then you can just, instead of eating a full stop, close it, right? Because if the buyers are going to step up, you want to see them step up now. You want to see them step up now. Because what could happen, though, is you could set one more bear trap candle. Like you did over here. Right here. You did the same thing. The exact same thing. Right? So when this candle was on the lows, this was actually below the 50. The RSI was below the 50 while this was on the lows. So anybody that bought the close might have ate a stop because you got one more downside candle. So you could potentially wait once again until today's close. That'll give you one more 8-hour candle to put in this trappy formation. And then what you want to see on the very next candle is this. But even notice then, you still opened and pushed below that low. This low. So even by waiting for the daily to close, because look what time this is. That's 2000 hours. That's a brand new daily candle open. You still pushed and took out the previous day's low. Right there was the previous day's low. That would have been the place to buy. And then what happened after that? Okay? That's what you're looking for. That's why I'm saying you can wait until the day's close. Wait for that liquidation below today's low. Because this is, as of right now, the day's low. But I don't like that it closed under the July open. I can tell you that right now. I don't love that. And for anybody that thinks that's a hindsight, cherry-picked example, it literally is not. We talk about this stuff all of the time. That is a trade talk setup. A liquidation break setup. It literally is. We take them all of the time. So, Pingu, is that tradable? On weeks, it is. It's down 7%. How much is it down here? Let me add this bitch over here. It's down 8%. That's not good for bullish. That's not good for looking for a bullish reversal. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and say that. The likelihood of this bullish trade working out today is very slim because you're down 8.5% on the day. Keep that in mind this evening or when we open a brand new daily candle on this thing. This is a big breakdown candle here. For your shorts out there, you cannot short this thing right now. It is down 8%. Can it go down to 10, 15%? Yes, it can, but you've already seen a big daily range. Today's range has already happened. You should have shorted the open if you were looking for the short. There had no way of knowing it was going to be a down day. I get it. But you can't short right now expecting another 8% to the downside. It just ain't likely. Especially now that we're coming up on the like this, it's lunchtime almost. 12 o'clock. The majority of the volume's already traded for the day. So this one though, as long as it's below July, I think I could short it, but not right now. Maybe later on into the month. I don't know. We'll see what it does. But it did have bullish continuation, and it didn't liquidate this high, so that could be a potential bullish target. There's a lot of bearish pressure in this thing today. Bitcoin is not making fresh lows still. Fartcoin is. Fartcoin did hit our targets. You should be out of it, or at least have taken profits on the Fartcoin short by now. Our hype long ain't looking good. That's a breakdown pretty much. That's a lower close. So I'll probably see if I can get it back up into this area to close it, just to save a couple bucks. But the Fartcoin trade is currently getting downside continuation. Finally. It's a bearish engulfing 4-hour candle, so clearly on Fartcoin you would want to see what? 4-hour supply hold. Here's your 4-hour supply. There's your intraday VWAP. So for downside continuation, you would want to see this area hold. Wait, that's the 4-hour res. We'll bring this one down. Something like that. So if you retest this, you would want to see that hold as resistance today. All right. You're still above the line, the trend line on the line chart. So it still does look like a bullish breakout. And you're still holding support above July's volume weighted average price. So buyers, this still looks very attractive for buyers. Even though we're losing our trade on hype, very small loss, literally $4. Here it is, like that's a break-even trade. That's single digit loss. That's nothing. We've got that up there, so we're good. But yeah, it's not looking great. This ain't a bearish engulf, but it did take out the low. And you closed under the open. So this is a trending candle. So now we would expect this to be an inside candle to continuation to the downside. Yeah. It's not looking great out there. What's the risk markets doing? They're trading under the intraday VWAP. However, the NASDAQ is retesting the intraday VWAP. So a bunch of sideways bullshit today. Across the board. Across the freaking board. But they did get a downside move on risk. So they did ultimately get that lower push here. NASDAQ back up, retesting that. You still are not getting downside continuation on Tesla. This is probably going to move post-market like it did here, right? It was sideways all day Thursday, then it broke down at the close. So if it's going to break down, it'll probably break down at the close. Or you'll get a big move back to the upside. That's why stocks suck. Apple is getting downside continuation, though it's not large downside continuation. Microsoft is pretty much unchanged on the day and pretty much unchanged from Thursday. And then Nvidia is still gapping down from Thursday's close, but right back above the daily open, which is here. So you are barely up on the day on Nvidia. So I would probably say look for upside continuation on Nvidia, as this is what we've been seeing as of late. We see the pre-markets moves go lower and then the afternoon moves go up. At least that's what was happening to the VIX last week. It don't mean it'll stay doing that, but here's what we did on the VIX last week and where we are right now. The VIX spent all week last week trading above the yearly opening range, but then the second half of the day sold off. Above the yearly opening range in the morning and then sold off. Same thing here, above the yearly opening range in the morning and then sold off. So we're above the yearly opening range again, but that's a significant gap up. I will be a buyer on risk markets on the S&P 500 if the VIX does that. If the VIX closes this gap, I will buy calls on the ES futures. That is the setup for this week on the ES. If we can test and close this gap, I want to be a buyer of calls on the ES. But that's pretty much it. Do you guys got anything else you want me to look at? I've put Pingu and XRP on the watch list. XRP's right back up. Wow. Though it held the midpoint, didn't it? Yep. It sure did. It held the intraday VWAP, didn't it? Yep. It sure did. Now you're getting upside continuation. Bitcoin is still holding the June VWAP. July VWAP, sorry. With that overhead gap on the VIX, I don't know if I could buy calls in that right now. It's still too early in the week. What does the SPX look like? Oh, I guess we could. We're under the last week's close. So for the VIX to fill that gap, you would probably see a downside move on the S&Ps all the way down to the low edge of the options expected move for this week. I don't know if you're going to get that on the VIX, but if it does, I would be a buyer. As long as it's not getting upside continuation from 20 bucks, guys, right? It needs to stay under 20. Fill the gap and then roll over, right? Then I could be a buyer on the AS. This could be as low as it's going to go, though. Because since it's been bullish, you haven't really been getting deep corrections below that blue line since the April lows. Here's your April lows down here. So 1 week we did trade down. And then we opened this week and traded back down to the low edge of the expected move. That was the last opportunity you got to be a buyer of the low edge of the expected move. And this entire run up. This fell short of tagging the low edge. This was very close, but still fell short. This one broke down below it. But no more. Boom, 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 boom. And we just broke out above the old all-time highs last week, so we'll see what it does, but I'm pretty sure, like, I want to be a buyer on that gap fill on the VIX. But here's the problem with it, is now you got a gap to fill on the bottom side. Right? Now we got this gap to fill. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if it starts to go back lower and fill this gap, then maybe we will have to buy calls on the ES. But I think I would rather buy a deeper correction. I don't know if we're going to get the deeper correction, though. Pingu is in my alts basket for the longer term. Gotcha. It's a free indicator. Got it. Yeah, I get it. Key level Spaceman Bitcoin. All right. Our Spaceman BTC. Got you. Let me just look at it and then I can pull it up. Oh, is that this thing? Okay, I see it. They're not labeled, but oh, they are labeled. Okay. You go to a clean chart. Where would be a clean chart? No, let's do this one. All right. I dig it. Yeah. Sweet. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Homeboy hooked it up. Key level, Spaceman BTC, IWM, buy Spaceman BTC, 9.1 thousand. You don't have to mark them yourself. I like it. And it only goes back 1 month. So I like that too. It even gives you intra-week stuff. And it's labeled for you. So thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Previous week's low, previous month mid. Yeah, that's good shit. Good shit. Thanks for looking at Pingu. You're more than welcome. I'll come back 2 weeks. Yay. I hope it's up to $20 a coin, bro. I do. I freaking do. But it's got a lot of downside pressure on it today. No doubt. It's a big down day. But buyers could step up, right? Whatever makes these big white bullish candles, that could happen tomorrow or the next day. We can never see into the future. That ain't what makes money over time. What makes money over time is consistently putting on risk the same way that you always do. It's literally just getting in at the opportunistic times and places. It's an opportunistic place. We get in. We either get stopped out or we make money. Then we move on. We do it all over again. And over time, we make money. We're not wasting time and effort trying to do more than one strategy. We will know what's what. We know where we are inside of the candlesticks at all times. This way, we can basically see which way the trend is going objectively. Puts us in the best possible place. This is going to be June's VWAP. We don't really need to know that. Puts us in the best possible place to make money. And that's how we do it. Thanks for your time, mate. No problem. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart, and as always, happy trading, everybody.